an outbreak of civility at the start of play, Tim. The team shook hands.
Yep.
Did you instigate that, and was there a reason you did it?
Yeah, I did. I've actually been watching with the Super Sport. There's a lot of soccer on, and I thought, I noticed that they do that every game, and I just thought, well, cricket's the gentleman's game, and I thought it's something that I spoke to our players about bringing in. It's not something we're going to do every Test match, but I think it's not a bad way to start a Test series. So it's something that we'll probably look to use going forward, just to. I think it's just a good show of sportsmanship and respect.
And draw a line between what's happened.
Yeah, a little bit of that for this series, definitely. Yeah, there's been a lot of water going to the bridge, I suppose, and a bit of tension between the two sides. So for us to show that. We want to be super competitive, but we also want to be really respectful of our opposition. So it was important that we showed that today. But as I said, it's something we'll look to take forward, and if other sides want to, that's how we'll start a Test series.
Tim, amongst everything that's happened over the past week, were you able to find some time to, digest becoming captain and what that entails?
No, I haven't yet, to be honest. I still feel. As if it's a sort of one-week job, I guess, at the moment. And a lot of our focus as a team has been around this week, so we're not looking too far ahead at the moment. I know it's a bit cliche, and in sport you get the 1 week at a time, but at the moment we're sort of taking it one day at a time and slowly trying to build back, I suppose, the respect of the cricket world, our fans and our Australian public. So we know we've got a really long journey ahead of us to get where we want to get to, but we think the last couple of days have been the start of that long journey.
And how hard to go from the up and down the past few days, mainly down, I guess, to the focus you need to play a Test match?
Yeah, that also was really difficult. Obviously, hasn't been hardly any focus on playing cricket until sort of yesterday. But I was really proud of the way the boys went about it. I think we were a little bit flat. I think we had two guys getting off a plane, last night at some stage or the day before. So. I thought the way we stuck at it today was terrific, and got some rewards late in the night, which was good.
Tim, was there a different feeling on the field today between the two sides? And if so, how would you describe it?
Well, I still think it was really competitive. There's no doubt about that. There wasn't too much verbal going back and forth between the two sides, and we've spoken again about that as a group, that going forward that's not the way we're going to play our cricket. So. It still felt like a Test match. It was still really competitive, but I suppose there's a little bit of what you're saying. We're playing a different style, but I think as well a lot of the guys are probably thinking about some other things, or we're a little bit flat.
Darren Lehman spoke about the need to change, and that's been the sort of the mantra over the last few days. Does that start immediately? I get the feeling that it does start immediately. And how does it change? What are the things that you change about the team?
Oh, like I said then, we still want to keep a really competitive brand of cricket, but I think there's times we've got to be more respectful of our opposition. We've got to be more respectful of the game of cricket, and at times we've tended to push the boundaries as far as we possibly could, and I think that we've seen that people probably don't like that. So it's time for us to change. We're happy to do that. I think it actually suits this group of players. We're a different group of players than Australia have had for a long time. We haven't got too many guys that like to verbalise and have that sort of really hard-nosed Australian approach. So we're about creating an environment where guys can come in and play cricket and just be themselves. And I think if we can achieve that, then we'll have guys having better results as well.
And on the handshakes, how did you approach it? Sorry, Kate. On the handshakes, how did you approach it with Faf and the South Africa boys? Did you talk to them, go into the dressing room?
I waited for Faf to come out today and spoke to him, and he was happy to do that. I think he thought it was a good idea, and who knows, maybe other sides and South Africa may start to use it as well.
Same thing, Chris.
Tim, how's the coach been today and the lead up, and have you changed anything, or have you done anything different in his last match?
He's been a little bit more laid back today, to be honest. I think what we sensed yesterday was, and he even touched on himself, was just a little bit of relief. I think, he said in his press conference, it's obviously been really difficult, and he's been copping a fair amount of flack, and so have his family. So I think for him to sort of take that away from them and you know, for him as well to be able to move on and I suppose try and heal a bit from what's happened, as I can sense a bit of relief and a bit of load off his shoulders.
Last four front row, 1, 2, 3, 4.
You're a bit reluctant to talk about captaining permanently before
Yep.
the sanctions were handed down. I mean, now that that's happened, are you looking forward to sort of leading this regeneration? Is this something you want to do in the long term?
Well, I think at the moment it's probably something that I will be doing. So, as I said, I've put not a hell of a lot of thought into anything past this week. You know, and then now we've also got a new coach that's got to be appointed, who's going to want to say on, you know, the way we go about it, the way I go about it. I suppose my captaincy style will be. I've never been a big believer in the cricket team being the captain's team. I think that's a bit old school. You know, when you didn't have all the resources that we do now, I see the captain's role as being that link between the players and the staff, and just a really small privileged role within Cricket Australia. But you know, it's just one part of the wheel, and I'll be trying to be very involving of all my staff, all my players, and I think that's the way I operate best.
Yeah, then David, then last one, Robbie.
So what do you make of Aidan Markman's now?
Yeah, he played superbly again. He's played really well throughout the whole series, and I thought we bowled well to him at times. We just struggled to, I suppose, stop him scoring, to be honest. And yeah, credit to him. I thought the wicket had enough in it. He played and missed a few times. We just couldn't quite get the nick, and anything loose, he jumped all over. So look, he's a very, very good player, and I'm sure he's going to score a lot of runs for South Africa.
Can I just ask, the last few days, how's it been from your point of view, like this whole, you know, fiasco and the way it's
Yeah.
unfolded? How was it observing from your view?
It's been strange and very difficult. I don't think my wife's too happy. I've hardly seen her for the last couple of days, and she's come over for it. So yeah, it's just been really challenging for everyone involved. It's obviously a really stressful time, and our thoughts are certainly with our teammates who aren't here at the moment. But as I said, we've had conversations and a lot of coffees with each other, talking about, you know, what we're going to do to change and how we're going to do that going forward. And you know, from all this dark cloud, at some stage there's going to be a silver lining, and you know, I think all the guys are really keen to be involved in how that looks. And as I said, we'll look to get through this week, and we go home. We've got a fair bit of time off, and potentially a new coach to come in and share some ideas with. So you know, I've got a fair bit of time before our next test where we can all get together, and as I said, I'm going to be really involving of our whole staff and playing groups. So you know, we'll sit down and map out what that looks like, how we're going to play.
Last one, Robbie.
Have most of the guys watched the footage of Steve and Cameron and just broadly on that emotion, like how some of them feed off it, or do you just sort of how do you subtract it if you do?
Yeah, no, I think a few guys watched it, and I think it really cut them up, as it did. I think anyone who watched that saw how difficult it was, and how much you know, not playing for Australia is hurting those guys. And yeah, I think it's really important for us to realise how lucky we are and how privileged we are, and we want to make, as I said, we want to make this environment in the Australian cricket team one that people can come in, be themselves, and play their cricket to the best of their ability, and we want to have that sorted by the time that those guys are ready to come back into this team.
And one of them, sorry, just today, like started Chad's test career.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought he did really well. Obviously, he was really nervous, as anyone would be, but you know, Chaddy's the sort of bowler, he's always at you, and you know, he did it again today. He bowled another 25, 26 overs, which is a really big effort here in the altitude. You know, the other boys were really blowing, but Chaddy just, you know, keeps on trucking on. So we're really rapt for him to firstly get a game, and then to take a few wickets late and get some rewards for the hard work he put in earlier in the day.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.